Hello everyone, welcome back to another story time. Hope you're doing well. I hope today your day is good. I'm praying for you. I have you all in my heart, and thank you so much for stopping by. So we don't have a community name yet. Before we get into the story time, we don't freaking have a community name yet. If you guys have any suggestions of what kind of community name we want, link it down below, talk about it. I'm all ears. We need a community name, we need it fast. But if you do not know me, my name is Luchadel. I create content for writers and bloggers to help them kind of just really crush it out there and make a full-time living for themselves. And I also do story times on the side. Like I said, today I'm going to be doing 2 story times today and get these ones out. And this one is the video all about that medical supporter that I've been talking about, bits and pieces of it in my blog post and throughout the YouTube and my descriptions. And it's going to be hard for me to get through this without even shedding a little bit of a tear, because this was basically the biggest pitfall in my life. This was a big thing that affected me for a long time, and yeah, it's gonna be hard to get through, but we're gonna do this. So yeah, hopefully we get a community name soon. But yes, this story takes place a year ago. I was in 9th grade at the time, and before we had him, he's a very new teacher, this person. He's basically worked here for me last year and this year. And before, we had another medical teacher. I wasn't in that medical class yet. I was in another medical class, and she was just a really bad teacher. Basically, she just didn't really care. She didn't really teach. She didn't even show us she cared. I don't know if she quit or if she got fired. But before we talk about that, I want to talk about my medical teacher in my old school, Miss Higgins. I, to this day, will give her the title of being the best medical teacher I've ever had in my life. She has helped me become my best version in a lot of ways. She helped me be a better speaker, a better writer, a better person, and she just helped me be better in the medical field. She taught me everything. She's such a good teacher because she is very inclusive of visual learners, auditory learners, and kinesthetic, aka hands-on learners. And she just wants every type of learner to really engage and be amazing. And she's very competitive. She says, we're gonna try to be the best medical program in all of Lakeland. We're gonna do it. And I'm gonna be honest, she really is the best medical teacher there is. Not trying to show off, but she's great. And when I first came into her class, I was just a really blank canvas. I wasn't the best writer, I wasn't the best speaker, and she just, first day we had assignments and I did them, and she just was like, you have to do this, you have to do that. She was just really hard on me to really hone on me to be my best, and she was like, you're doing that, you're doing this wrong, correct this, correct that. And over time, I really started to, be the top of my class. She called me Dr. DeLucci and all of that good stuff. And she just had a big favoritism for me, and everyone in the class was like, dang, she really freaking likes you. And there's this thing called I forgot what it's called. It's called skill checks. It's where you do a scenario that could actually happen in your life. For example, we did CPR, we did rescue breathing, we did washing hands, we did the Heimlich maneuver. And she would, if you were to finish early above everyone else, you could be checking other people's skill checks and helping people get checked off. So I would always finish my skill checks and very quickly, and she's like, okay, he is the medical assistant. That's what it's called. We'd be called medical assistants, and the students could come to us so she can have less weight on our shoulders, and we could check people off and see if they were doing stuff right. And that really helped me get out of my shell and be more of a leader kind of thing. And it was great. I was in that school for about 2 years until I switched over, and then I took medical in 8th grade. She was very chill, very great teacher. She she was just really chill. She wasn't strict or anything. She was just like, all this extra stuff that teachers do, I'm just not going to do it. I just want to teach you what you actually need to know. I don't want to show fluff and bluff. I really want to just get to the nitty gritty. And she was just that type of teacher. No bull crap. Like, I'm going to get to it. And then after next year, it all started with this teacher, Mr. Goldman. Before that was Miss Hess, but this one is Mr. Goldman. And it was his first year here, and we came in the classroom, and he was, before I went to the class, we do a thing called orientation, where we go to our classrooms and see where everything is and try to find everything. And I found all my classrooms, but I couldn't find his classroom during orientation. I was like, oh crap, I'm gonna get an anxiety attack on the first day of school. I don't know where the freak this classroom is. And then on the first day of my mom was like, hurry, we're gonna find it. Just tell someone next day. I was like, no, I wanna find my classroom. And then she was like, I don't have time for this. We need to get home. I have to cook dinner. I have to clean the house. You can find it on the first day. And I was like, okay, fine. And I started just really panicking. And then on the first day, I said hi to all my friends. And I was like, hey, I haven't seen you in a while. How you been? And then I told them I need to go find Goldman's classroom, because I don't know where the freak that is. They said, oh, just go to the library, go ask the people. I went to the library and I asked, do you guys know where Mr. Coleman's class is? And they said, oh, it's just right across the hall. It's on the side of us. And I was like, I found it. Thank God. So I went to first period and second period. I got it all done. This was my second year here during that time. And I went to Coleman's class, and when he came in, he was a very, like, I don't know how to put it. Like, he was just, I don't know the word. He was just big. He was a big guy. And he was Caucasian, and he had a bit of a limp, and people were making fun of him because he was limping, but he talked about how he lost almost all of his cartilage on his hip, and he always had a limp because of that, and he had to take medication to help make sure his limp wasn't getting any bad. And then of course he was going over the classroom, he was going over the rules, and this guy is a crazy freaking teacher. Like, he would have like 2 different countdowns. Like, he'll have one in Japanese, he'll have one in like German. He'll be like, I, 5, 4, 5, and that means be quiet. Or it'll be like, ichi, go, zai, vi, no, and you would have that for like, you know, listen, look at me, like eye contact kind of thing. And he started talking about, like, on the first day we did the personality test kind of thing, so that we can see what kind of people we are. Are we the blue? Are we the yellow? Are we the green? Or are we the orange? And I got the blue, and that's like the compassionate kind of people. And we grouped up with those kind of people on the first day, and he said, this is gonna help you kind of determine your personality type, so you can determine what kind of person you're gonna be in the medical field. And I got blue. And then after that, he said, okay, thank you guys for taking the test. Next day, we're going to be doing our first lesson talking about the different parts of the GI tract. And we're going to be going over the ranges of motion and the parts of the body. Stuff like that, you know, posterior, anterior. And then next day, I went through all my classes, and then I went to him. He was my 3rd period. And I had him, and it just kept getting weirder and weirder and weirder. He was teaching us, and we had this competition where we had to like kind of guess what someone was holding. We had to guess what kind of like body part they were holding. Was it the anterior, posterior, stuff like that? And he said, like, you have to make it feel better, you have to do the force. You can either do this, put your hand out, or just stand like this and put your head to this. And I was like, what the freak? All the people in the classroom were looking at him like he was a freaking crazy. He was freaking crazy. And then I did it, and then all of us started doing the competition, and some people were putting their hand out, some people were doing this, and honestly, I didn't even give a freak. I just stood like this, and I was just like this, and then I guessed, and I got a few right. Some people got a few right. And then he started teaching more and more, and the next day I started participating in the classroom, because I was a bit of a medical nerd, because I have like almost 4 doctors in my family, 3 cousins, 5 doctors, 4 cousins, and my dad, he's a doctor as well, so that's 5 people. and I participated in stuff like that. And I remember there was a time where we were going over meiosis, and I was talking about what is the thing that happens when this happens, and I called it reduction division. He was like, good job, you are good. And he started really having a favoritism towards me. He really loved me. He really loved my participation in the class. He says I'm gonna go far as a doctor. I'm very smart, I'm compassionate. And then there was even a time where this is when I met my friend, but I'm not really friends with her now because she kind of left the school. She left the school and we never talked after that. But we were doing ranges of motion, and they said, can someone come up to the class to give us examples? And then they called on this girl named Hope, and then Hope came up to the front, and she was like very shy, very demure, and she was scared, like she was going to like freaking like pass out on the freaking in front of the class. And I was like, you know, I can do it. I raised my hand so that I could take her spot, and I did it. And then I did the range of motion. I said, you know, flexion, dorsiflexion, this, that, flexion, plantar flexion, stuff like that. And he said, you are really, really good. I really like how your voice is very like soothing. It's very calming. It's good to listen to. But what I do want you to work on is your volume. So your volume is, but your tone, you have a really good tone, but your volume needs to be worked on. And that's what he said. He says he has a really good volume, but his tone is not very, you know, approachable. It's not something that people would feel scared to talk to him. So he said, good job, and everyone started clapping for me, and I was like, ooh. And I think I don't know if I volunteered or I think they told me to come up. I think the class told me to come up, because Coleman said, come up, and everyone started clapping. And then next day, a few days later, I kept participating in the class as normal, getting into this stuff, and yeah, he really started to really like be connected to me. And we were doing volunteering at the hospital coming up, and I was going to be doing my first year of volunteering at the hospital, and I was really, really excited. And they said you need to get a recommendation from a teacher basically to be in this volunteering. And I said, okay, I have an idea. I can get a recommendation from my medical teacher. Perfect. And then I said, Gallman, I'm going to be volunteering. Do you mind giving me a recommendation? He said, sure, I'd love to. And then he wrote this really, really sweet, kind, amazing message saying, I'm a very kind, compassionate, you know, behaved, smart kid, and I always out there to help people, always out there to be there for people, always out there to just be the best I can. And what a message. Like, I was so freaking happy when you wrote that, and I showed my mom, and she was like, dang, this guy freaking loves you. He really, really likes you. And I was like, he really does. And this is where stuff starts to get really, really hot. I remember when we were going over another lesson, talking about stuff, and we were talking about like numbers and like medical math, and then we were talking about like decimals and stuff like that. And then he said, usually when you use a decimal for medical, for example, if you give someone this amount of stuff and you have a decimal in it, you have to put a 0 in the front. And they said, why would you put a 0 in the front? I raised my hand, and they said, so they don't mistake it for a whole number, so that they know it's a decimal. And he said, good job. And he said, did you know that, or did you like look that up? And I was like, no, I already knew that. And then everyone in the class was like, the freak, that was kind of messed up. And then people in the class were like, hey, did you hear what he said to you? He said, like, he just said, that was really mad. Did you, like, not get mad or anything? I was like, no, I don't care. I said, dang. And I was just that type of person. I get mad. It's really hard to make me mad, like, get really, really mad. If someone says something to me, I just shove it off. I have a pretty thick skin, but back then I used to really take things personally. But you know, what people say to you, it's not about you, it's about them. So if you think about it like that, it doesn't really affect you. So you can just kind of laugh it off, shrug it off. That's a really good way to kind of take the pressure off you. If someone insults you or says something negative, don't fight back. Like, kind of laugh it with them. Instead of them laughing at you, you can be laughing with them. And after that, stuff started to get a little bit more heated, but we had another medical assignment. We were going over nutrition, and he said, please make your menus that you're going to be doing for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And I went all in on this. I was doing since I was vegetarian, I did this whole freaking menu, like health and stuff, like vegan and vegetarian, and I went all in, and I was like, dang, yours looks so good. And then the teacher gave me I forgot that show, Steve Brown or Chris Brown, not Chris Brown, something Brown. I don't remember that show, but he gave me this stamp, Snoopy Dog. He gave me the stamp of Snoopy. I was like, so cute. And I remember the first test I took, it was on meiosis and mitosis, and I took it, and the way his tests are made, like, it's almost impossible. Like, yes, we take assignments on iPads, but it's not multiple choice. Every question is written, and you obviously know the problem with this. Of course, like, when he writes the correct answers, sometimes he might put a period on accident, or we might have to capitalize it, or we might just, it's really glitchy. So I actually surprisingly got 100 on it. It blew me away that I got 100 on this freaking test, because I was like, dang, like, it's written, every question. And I was just like, what the flip, like, that, it was hard. And most people, only like a few people got 100, but some people got 90, some people got 80, some people got FCs. But I was proud of myself. I got 100. And after the lesson of helping the girl, and I pretty much saved her, she was like, thank you so much for doing that for me. That was really nice. So you didn't have to do that. And I was like, well, I just wanted to help. And she's like, honestly, if you would have had me do that, like, I was no joke gonna freaking kick him in the balls. And I was like, dang. But she was really, really feisty. Like, if you really got to know her, she's that person you don't want to mess with. Like, she's feisty. And as days went by, we started learning about, skin and melanin and the I don't know what the system's called, the integumentary system, something like that. It has to do with the skin and the nails and the hair. And he gave an example of, like, melanin. Like, for example, he says someone like me who has really low melanin, I will, for example, not do good in the heat, but I'll do better in the cold. And the way he said it, he says his mom is a lot darker skinned, but his dad is really light skinned, for example. That's why his brother is darker than him, but he's somehow still light skinned. And he started talking about melanin, and I was the only Hershey kiss in that classroom, and he used me as an example. For example, he said people with a lot of melanin are less likely to get sunburned. For example, our person here, he called me out, and he said he has a lot of melanin, so he's less likely to get sunburned. And I didn't think anything of it. I just shook my head like this. I understood. I didn't get mad. I wasn't offended. And everyone in the class started gasping, like, what? Like, why would he say that? That's so mean. That's so jacked up. And I was just like, he's just using me as an example. I have a lot of melanin, so what? And he said, that's offensive. Like, that's really, really racist that he did that. And I was like, I don't know, I guess maybe it is. And he just was really obsessed with me, like, talking about my skin and talking about, like, my melanin, and it really, really, really got to me. It started to really, like, I started to feel like some type of way, like the way he was treating me, and the way he treated me went from him loving me and respecting me to being just outright exploiting me and just trying to call me out my character. And it was really, really disgusting. And stuff started to happen where, like, I didn't know this person anymore. I thought he was someone who supported me, someone who loved me, someone who was there for me. But as time went by, he just started to really just have little care for me, basically. And I just really didn't think anything of it. I'm like, this guy, like, I'm only gonna deal with him for probably like a few years. Like, it's gonna be okay. And then we started doing group assignments. We were put in groups so that, because he really loves stuff like that, just fun games. He doesn't like just teaching. He likes making games out of things. For example, we play Jeopardy sometimes. We would play groups. We'll do card games. We'll do, for example, we'll even do, like, versus each other, stuff like that. And he said, we're gonna do groups today, going against each other. And I think we were learning about the immune system. I think that's what we learned about. And then I was just doing my thing. We were all grouping, learning, teaching each other, just having fun. And then days later, or I don't remember when, like a few days later or something like that, I was in math class, or I think I was in like my last period or something, and these group of girls who are in my medical class were talking to me. They called me and they said, "Did you hear what Goldman said in your class that other day?" And I said, "What did he say?" And what they said literally made my stomach drop. They said, he literally said to you, like, you would never make it in the medical field because of your race and dark skin color, and you would be checked by the FBI watch list because of your race. Oh, no. No, they didn't say it. They said it on the last day of school. We were in math, first period, talking. They were making fun of Goldman and saying how he's literally obsessed with me, he loves me, and stuff like that. And then they said that. And I was like, he said that? And he said, yeah, he said that. And I was like, and then the teacher said, well, he's a nice guy, and he's not gonna go off and be mad. And when we were in front of the teacher office, grouped around talking to her, I tried so hard not to shed a tear, or tried so hard not to show any type of anger. I just tried to keep my cool. What hurt me was the attack on my character, the attack on who I am as a person. It's not the fact that he said I wouldn't make it. That hurt. But the fact that he said who I was as a person, who I am, my identity, is gonna hold me back in life. And that hurts, not only to know that I grew up with really low self-esteem. I grew up not really liking who I am, my appearance, my personality. I just didn't like any aspect of myself growing up, and he basically reassured me, like, yeah, who you are as a person is pretty much not enough. And to hear that on the last day of school, when you're supposed to be happy and all that, it hurt. And all my friends, the girl that I helped during that presentation thing, she was leaving the school because she's been through a lot there. She's been bullied, she's had people backstab her, the teachers. She almost, she got into self-harm, and she almost legit killed herself because of how strenuous that school was and how it can hurt you. And there was even this guy who was really inappropriate, all that stuff. He said he wanted to F girls and stuff like that, and she left. And as days went by, most of the friends that I've had at that school, they've just freaking left me, and I don't know why. They stopped talking to me. And that summer, I just felt like everything was crumbling around me. I felt like I wasn't worth it. I felt like what's left of me? If I can't do the medical field, what else can I do? And next year, which was this year, I didn't have him. We had another teacher, and we had literally 3 medical teachers, and all of them quit. Literally, the first one, I think she got fired. She was here for only a few months, and then we realized she started packing her bags, and okay, she's quitting. She's not telling us. That's kind of shallow to not tell us that you're leaving. She just kind of just left. And then we had another medical teacher, and she literally quit on the first freaking day. And I was and what's really coincidental is she was a student at that freaking school, and I was like, what the freak? She was a student and she quit. And then we had another teacher, which was another one, and she was there for a little bit, and then she also quit. Yeah, it was quite a lot. And then we went back to Miss Hess, which we finished off the year with. But I always did that year. I would always see Goldman and just have a bad taste in my mouth, because everything I thought about him, everything he's treating me it went 360. I just had a bad view on him, a negative view on him, and he would always say hi to me and look at me, and I would say hi, but it just wasn't the same. It wasn't the same. And sometimes I would say hi and smile at him. He wouldn't even like pay me no mind. And I remember my friends and I were going to the bus, and I heard him like smirk something, saying like, "Oh, those scumbags." And I was like, "Scumbags? The freak? This guy's crazy." And then he was planning on leaving this year, but too late. He got fired. And he was fired. We don't know why he was fired, but literally I heard that the staff were literally checking through his classroom with freaking gloves on. So something happened. Something had to have happened for him to get fired that badly. And I guess that's karma, biting him back on the back. And I even heard about how he not only was mistreating me, but he was mistreating other people in our classroom and calling out other people with the melanin incident. And it's just, you don't do that. Like, you don't call someone out in a classroom. You don't do that. You don't call someone out of their character or make them look like a bad person or make them look like something they're not. Like, that's just not right. And to this day, like, I don't think I'm ever gonna forget that, like what he said to me. Like, that, it was like almost like a digital, not a digital, but like a mental wound on my brain, and I don't think it's ever gonna go away. But we do need to know that scars heal, and I can't dwell on this forever because that's just gonna get me depressed. But like, it's just, it's hard. Like, it's really hard having, like, it's like having a friend that you've known for so long and for years and years, and they just backstab you, or you were dating someone for a long time and they cheat on you, or there's a family member you loved but they have abused you. Like, it hurts. And he was supposed to be someone that I'd really depended on, because that ninth grade at that school was my worst year. Really, I was bullied. It was just a lot of negativity, a lot of drama going on. But this year, stuff started to pick up. Stuff started to get a little bit better. But my last year was definitely my worst year. And I remember my friends would even say how, like, he would call them out, call people weird names. And it's just, I guess what you can take away from this is, don't let someone or something or anyone hold you back from your dreams. I think my past self, like, what they needed was self-love. Like, that person, that Lucci in ninth grade, didn't love theirself. They put others before theirself. They wanted so badly to be loved. They wanted so badly to be respected, to be accepted, to be appreciated, when they themselves didn't even love themselves or appreciate themselves. You can't love anyone. You can't demand love from anyone if you don't love yourself first. It doesn't work like that. And that's what Lucci needed in ninth grade. They really needed to love themselves. And they didn't. They really didn't love themselves. And that's why what he said hurt a lot harder. But if he would have said it now, I would have shrugged it right off. I would have been like, what you say does not affect me. But that was just so heartbreaking, what he said. And, you know, every now and then, like, people in my class would always remind me, like, remember when Goldman said that, like, you'd be checked by the FBI because of your race? And it's just, for them to remind that, it's just not, you know, convenient to really mention that. You know, like, it's in the past. We've moved forward. I don't want to hear that again. That's my past, and it's the past. You can't change the past. All you can do is affect your present and affect your future. And after my depression, during all of that, I found content. I found content creation. I found Twitch. I found all these platforms that helped me kind of, you know, harness what I was going through into something positive. And I found content, and I created content as a vessel to help share what I've been through and share what I learned and my love of blogging and writing to the world. And if it wasn't for content, if it wasn't for all these YouTube videos and all this content that's inspired me to be my best, I really don't know where I would be today. And I probably wouldn't be here. And it's such a blessing by God to give me these struggles. I'm actually very thankful for what he said to me, because it was a fire. Like, yes, he said I wouldn't make it, but that just fueled my fire. Like, there's so many other people who probably went through that same experience, who hated who they were as a person and had someone tell them who they were as a person was going to hold them back. That's why my mission is to help you find your place in the writing space, find your place in this world, find your place, find who you are, find your spirit, and just find your purpose in life as a blogger. And you gotta love yourself first before you can love anyone. You gotta help yourself. You gotta give to yourself. And I'm very thankful for that experience, and I wouldn't change it. I wouldn't change anything. And I'm not gonna have to deal with him anymore because he got fired. But I have something to talk about. Story. So I have a few friends in my biology who of course dealt with Gallman, for example, and he was even crazier this year. For example, he was saying he was a lizard man and how he was going to get a robotic leg for his limb, and each year he just got crazier and crazier. And I had a few friends in my class talk about how, like, this girl in my class said I have a full list of everything he's done and everything he said. And I remember they legit found a social media site of him called My Life, and his name is not actually John Gallman. His name is Christopher Gallman. And they found his face and they found him, and I was just like, and they even found where he lived, and I was like, dang, like, why would you put yourself on My Life and put yourself on that so people can know where you freaking live? Like, what the freak? That was just stupid of him, like, to do that. Like, I don't know how desperate he is, but he was major desperate. I remember when, I think he had a crush on one of the staff at school, because I remember we had a sub in 9th grade in English, and then I remember he gave money to our sub for breakfast, and then one of the students in there was like, hey, can you go to Gallman's class and pay him back? He paid me money for a donut. Can you go give him money? And the was like, yeah. And I was like, do they like each other? And I was like, okay. But Gallman used to talk about the days back in the day where he was good looking and he was fit and he was cool and he was popular. Like, he always makes up so much stuff, saying how he's been to other planets and he's been to all these places, and he's died and come back to life, and he's seen life and death, and he's just crazy. And I even remember one day, like, he was talking about how, like, in his hospital, like, there was some gay nurses and they possibly liked him, and then everyone started laughing. They said, that's really offensive to gay people, why are you laughing? And he was like, no, we're not laughing at them, we're laughing at you for saying that. Oh man, oh god, like, he's so crazy, such a nutcase. To this day, I still can't believe how I was able to deal with him for that long and still keep my cool, still be cool as a cucumber. He just didn't pierce through my armor. That's basically what it is. He didn't pierce through my armor. I had a strong armor and he didn't pierce through it. But a lot of people started cheating. Like, his assignments started getting really, really challenging. Like, people, no joke, started cheating, and people even failed even when they cheated. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but you're dumb. If you cheat and you still fail, like, there's something wrong. Like, come on, like, what? And yeah, people started cheating on this test. Like, almost like there was only 2 people in the whole medical who didn't cheat, me and this other girl named Kyla, and everyone else cheated. And I was like, they said even the smartest people in there cheat. And I was like, dang, I didn't cheat. I felt good about myself. But yeah, he's fired. He doesn't work there anymore, and yeah, his work there is done. Like, that's the thing. Like, not a lot of people stay there for too long. They stay there for probably 2 to 1 year, and then they just leave. Like, that school is a very strenuous school, and it requires dedication to stay there. But I think that's it. I think that's the end of this story. I didn't shed a tear, but maybe I shed a little bit of a tear, as you can see. But it was a lot. Like, it was definitely a lot. That was a big year for me, 9th grade, when he did all that, and he definitely helped. He shaped me. Like, sometimes you need that person. You need that person who's gonna tell you, like, you're not gonna do this, or you need that person who's gonna say, like, pack your bags, like, you're out, like, you're fired. Or you just need that person sometimes that's just gonna give you that wake-up call that tells you, like, listen, you're not gonna make this, you're not gonna do this, you're gonna just quit. And I'm glad that God had put that in me. I'm glad God made that situation for me, because it fueled me, and it brought me here. It brought me to YouTube. It brought me to the podcast, and I'm just really thankful for that experience. So if you have someone in your life who said, like, who you are as a person is gonna hold you back, be thankful for that, because it's gonna fuel your fire. It's gonna shape you, and it's gonna be an everlasting fuel that's gonna help you push through. So please do not take it as a negative. Take it as a positive. But yes, be sure to check out the rest of our story times. There's more, and we're just gonna keep sharing even more story times. Like, this isn't the end. Like, we're gonna be sharing blog writing tips as our main piece of content, but then we're gonna do some story times on the side as well. And maybe as we grow a little bit more, we're probably gonna get into vlogging. But yeah, I'm excited for what we have in store, and what we're capable of, and what we're going to change about this vlogging writing niche. And I hope you're willing to join us, and so that we can change it together. But I love you guys. Thank you for stopping by, staying for this long. I love you guys, and I'll see you in the next one. Hopefully you watch both the videos, and yeah, let me know what else you want to see. Bye.